everybody, Jeff, your executive gardener. Thanks for joining me. So I'm going to give you a May update of my garden. First of all, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. The world needs you, probably now more than ever. Thanks for all that you do to help the fathers and sometimes single mothers raise great children. So as we get into this episode, I'm going to show you everything here. I'm going to have a salad. So one of the great things about doing gardening in your own backyard, and you don't need a lot of space, that's kind of what I try to teach people, is that you can kind of make your own meals and be a little bit self-sufficient. So I'm going to give you a tour of my garden, but before I do, let me kind of show you what I have here. If you live in the South, follow this because it's too hot to grow some of these things in the South, but I'll show you how you can do it if you like salad. So to start with, there's salad. All of that lettuce comes from my indoor garden, and I showed you that last week. That's the Arrow garden. So got some red sail lettuce, some deer tongue lettuce, and some assorted. Also, I've grown carrots. So this carrot, as you can see, is from my garden, and you can tell because it's a wonky shape. This is not grown the type you see in a Kroger or any of your Safeway or a national store. This is actually Malabar spinach. This actually grows very well if you live in hot climate, and you can cut this up as well and put this in the salad. This is grown from the backyard. The carrots are grown from the backyard. The radish I just pulled today, as you can see, that is grown from the backyard. The cucumbers, I like the pickling cucumbers, they're crunchier. This is grown from the backyard. Jimmy Dardello pepper. I sold a lot of these seeds to some of my subscribers last year. Backyard, another pepper. And of course the tomatoes are all from the backyard, as are all those tomatoes from the backyard. So I'm going to show you where all these plants reside, but the point here is that it is not difficult to grow your own food and eat healthy. So this is all great and good if you like staying in shape, but you're noticing one key thing: it doesn't have a lot of protein, all right? So it's healthy, but doesn't have a lot of protein. So these are not grown in the backyard. So I bought some white beans from the store. This obviously is a great source of protein, and it can keep you full for 2 or 3 hours. I'm also going to put some sliced tuna on top of that as well, and some very light dressing. So the point is again, you can grow all of these things in your backyard. You may have a challenge in the summer, in the southern months. You won't be able to grow that. You won't be able to grow carrots much longer, and same with radishes, but you can certainly grow those indoors. That's my plan to do so, but certainly, as you know, in the summers, all of these things that you're looking at right now, cucumbers, peppers, and tomatoes will grow very well. So let me get out in the garden. I'll show you how everything's doing that you're seeing on this cutting board right now. Well, there you go. Here's the final product. Everything from my garden, from lettuce. Again, the only thing that's not is those white beans. But this is why I started the channel, to teach people how to grow their own food in the backyard, to nourish their bodies, and to share it with friends. So I'm going to eat the salad, and then when I come back, I'll give you a tour of the backyard. But, you know, take a look at that. Well, all right, let's start with the green stalk garden. It's going well. We got a bunch of tomatoes here that are, I've picked a bunch off, but you'll see there's a bunch that are ripe, a bunch growing. And this is a 360 garden, so we got some good blossoms that will soon be tomatoes. But again, I've picked a lot of these things off. Now, if you've been in Houston, Texas the past week, and you live here like I do, you know what we've been through this past week. It has been a torrential downpour. So I traveled on business this week, and I tried to get back to Houston on Thursday from Denver, and I could not get back because the airport was closed, okay? The airport was closed. So we had an unbelievable amount of rain, and because of that, the airport closed. So, you know, the impact of the plants, it just wreaks havoc on plants. And again, I was talking to someone the other day, and you know, us Houston gardeners have to stick together because it is a hard place to garden. Same as Orlando, same as Tampa, same as Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, I said Alabama, Carolina, any place that you get just a ton of rain, it becomes very, very difficult to garden. So I got a ton of tomatoes. Let me show you my new toy. I've had a hell of a time, or I should say heck of a time, trying to keep, and there it is. You can see it. That is my new owl. So it's a solar powered owl. On the top of the head, you'll see the solar power. What happens is the head moves, it swivels, but every, I'd say 2 minutes, the head spins completely. And the mockingbirds seem to be a little bit freaked out by it. So since I've had this owl, and it kind of bobbles in the wind, you can see there, I've had no damage from the mockingbirds. It's the only thing that I've used that has worked, is a spinning owl head. I bought it on Amazon.com, and seems to work. Nope, I've had not one tomato picked so far. So I'm pretty happy about that. So thanks, Owlhead. Does its job, holds up in the torrential downpours and all that. So this is a green stalk gardening. I don't get paid by them. I just love it. It works. I see a lot of other gardeners using it. If you have an apartment or something, you can use this. But as you can see, this creates a tremendous amount of food. We've already picked all the red tomatoes off here. Let me show you the back garden. All right, so here are the cucumbers. The cucumbers are starting to take off. They were a little bit yellow because of all the rain that we got here, as I just spoke about. But I added a decent amount of magnesium sulfate. Added some CalMag to the beds. I refertilized them this morning, and we're in pretty good shape. I also put down some slug and snail bait to get rid of some of the slug and snails. They're a pain in the neck after a rain. So let's take a look at them. Remember, these are the types of cucumbers that produce probably about 9 female flowers to 1 male flower. And you can see here, they're doing a good job. So there's a beautiful one there. There's one there. So not all of them produce. There's one there. And then there's a bunch of them that are getting ready, as you'll see there, to produce. All the way up the plant. You just do not get that. I'll show you some more. You do not get that with a regular pickling cucumber. So, in my opinion, is why waste your time. And they're very crunchy. Love them. They're excellent. I've already picked 2 or 3 of them out. There's some starting there. Tons of flowers, just tons of female flowers. And that's just a glimpse of it. And here's another one here. Just a ton of flowers. So I do expect each plant to produce a ton. Now over here we have green beans. So I believe these are Kentucky pole beans, and I just picked a bunch of them yesterday, but as you'll see, it's pretty prolific. And I get these off as soon as possible. These are kind of getting close to being done, and we love beans. It's a great source of protein, obviously. And there's another bean stalk right there growing up the lattice. As I told you before, that's where my carrots come from. The season for carrots is going to be over soon, only because it's going to get too warm. But what I would recommend you do with your carrots is mulch them, make sure they get plenty of water and so forth. Okay, let's take a look at back here. The eggplant is just booming. Look at all those beautiful purple flowers. Didn't seem to be impacted too much by the rain. And then over here, got another eggplant that's growing. Not too much. You'll see this is already turning into an eggplant. There's one down there that's turning it into an eggplant. A few others. So this is going to be pretty prolific. Look forward to it. This here is starting to take off. This is the Malabar spinach. Okay, I showed you this. Look at my videos a few videos ago. Now this thing is just taken off. As you can see, you've got these branches that are starting to grow everywhere, and it's different. I had it in my salad for the first time. It's a different kind of acquired taste. The leaves are a little bit, I'd say, bitter. Not bad though. But this is a plant that you can grow all year round. This is another owl I have here. This doesn't work worth a darn because the head doesn't spin, and the actual mockingbirds just sit right on top of the head. So wouldn't waste your money with it. But the one that spins, the head that spins, that solar power, You can check it out on Amazon. Pretty darn good. It's about 20 bucks, 25 bucks. I still have some apples on my apple tree. You can see there, they're actually getting pretty good size. There's a few back there as well. Anyway, most people don't know you can grow apples in Houston. Now, they're not anything tasting like a Red Delicious, but they're not bad. For whatever reason, the squirrels have left the apples alone this year. Don't know why, but they have, and I'll take that. Let's look at the side garden, then we'll wrap up the video. All right, we're in my gardening octagon. Let's take a look. So there's obviously tomato plants there, tomato plants here. Okay, we've already taken off all the red tomatoes. These are in the 5-gallon buckets. They're doing pretty good. You got your pepper plants, pepper plant, squash, another eggplant. This is supposed to be a whopper tomato plant, but it's not looking too good. You'll see the leaves are a little limp. Man, that is the impact of too much rain, folks. If your your roots get drowned out, it just may not survive. We'll have to see. You know, again, if you've never lived in Houston, Texas, man, the rain is just vicious. It just puddles and it comes down. I know a lot of you that live in the South and other parts like Orlando, Tampa have the same issue, but that one, there's no whoppers on it yet, but it's not looking that great. But some of the others are looking pretty good. Anyway, pepper. These are the radishes you'll see there. We've already picked most of the radishes. This is a giant Marconi pepper. Okay, some more pepper plants. Now the pepper plants haven't grown too high, as you'll see here, and the reason why is that we've had so much rain, so little sun. But there's some other tomato plants here that are doing relatively well. I can't remember what this one is. Here's one in the ground here that's got some tomato plants that got some tomatoes on it. Tomato plants, given the fact that we've had gallons and gallons and I don't know of rain, they're not doing too bad. More tomato plants. You know, there's a tomato plant right there. Tomato. Okay. More plants and so forth. So as you'll see here, and there's more radishes back there. You'll see some radishes back there. These are shishito and Jimmy Nardello. They're starting to, as the weather gets hotter, those pepper plants are starting to grow up a little higher, but they're just a little bit stunted again because we haven't had much rain or sun. And another one right there, but they're still, you know, surprisingly, this tiny little plant still puts off some decent sized peppers. But yeah, that's kind of what happens. Now after you get a big rain like we just got here, you got to make sure that once this bucket, this 5-gallon bucket dries out, you got to put the nutrients back in there. Much of it, unless you have like tablets that are sustained release, much of them much of the nutrients is probably leached out of the bucket, and you know, you don't want to get blossom end rot or tomatoes that are undersized. So once it dries out some, I'll add some more nutrients to it. So this is another view from the garden. Okay, so you see we're starting to dry out. I think this week we're going to have 4 or 5 days of sun, which will be great, and we'll do that. So this is an update for the garden. Like I said, you can be pretty self-sufficient in growing your own food. The only thing that I'm not growing outside is lettuce. So you look at my last video, you'll see all the lettuce I'm growing indoors because it's just too hot at this point in time. The lettuce will bolt, go to seed, and you'll have no lettuce. So outdoor, but everything else I am growing outdoors still at this point in time. I encourage you to do so, and you know it's organic, you know where it comes from, and you can put the best nutrients in it. So that is my early May garden update from the garden. Again, everything from this garden went into the salad except those white beans. So I encourage you to do so. You don't need much space, folks. Just get out there and make it happen. Also, I want to again wish all mothers around the world a very happy Mother's Day. I can tell you, being a husband, married to a wonderful wife, been married 19 years, sometimes the job is thankless, but it is the most important job in the world, raising your kids. So thanks to my mom, to all those great moms out here watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up or share a comment. If you have a question, leave me a question in the comment. But until next time, this is Jeff, your executive gardener. Bye.